Diego, and you're tuned in to Breaking Down Breakdown. On today's episode, simply put, we are going to talk about progress. Hello, everybody. Alright, it's been a while since you guys heard that, huh? Hey guys, it's me. It's Steven. I just want to say, welcome back to Breaking Down the motherfucking Breakdown. Now, granted, it has been months since I last posted the last episode, since the last season. I just want to say thank you for still being here with us, for being super patient. You probably wondering what happened to me. Well, life has been happening. I just decided to kind of step away from the podcast for a little bit, just because, I wanted to come back with my head in the game. I guess you could say that. A lot has happened in these past few months, not just for me, but for the entire rest of the world. And that is exactly what this season is going to be about. And I'm so excited to start off the season by myself. I'm actually a little nervous. It's been a while since I did this on my own, but it's not really that different because lately I picked up streaming and I've formed a really amazing band of people that we now call ourselves a community. And you know what? This will all bleed into this season, I promise. But the whole point of today's episode, it's kind of about me. It's a little bit, but it's also about everybody else. I mean, that's why I made this podcast in the first place, right? So I don't want to get too long-winded, just like I always get, because I'm on my own. I'm okay to do that with guests, but not by myself. So I just kind of want to get to the point today. And what we're going to talk about today is something that I sort of do talk about after every topic with a guest that I would have on the show. But I don't really delve into it as deep as I should. And I feel like it's because I don't want to make other people kind of feel uncomfortable. I don't want to, invade their space. They're going to talk about what they want to talk about, and there are certain questions I can ask, but there's only so much you can really say on the fly when somebody asks you, how is your journey going? When somebody asks you, how are you progressing? And that is what today is about. It's about progress. Now, for most of you who know me, I do post fitness posts on Instagram. We're not going to talk about the Twitter side of things because that's not really for kids. But it is one of the few things that I wanted to bring up today because my social media, how do you say this? The way I portray myself in social media has actually had a huge hand in helping me with my progress. Now, for some people, progress will look different. It depends on what you're progressing towards, right? There's the fitness goals, there's mental health goals, there's career goals, but progress encompasses all of these things that it is so vague when you ask somebody, how are you progressing? Right? Because usually when we try to check up on people, we always just ask them, how are you doing? How are things? Now, it's a very general thing to ask because we don't want to pry, and I totally get that. And I feel like it is up to us, the individuals who are being asked the question, to bring forth to the table what it is that we're comfortable talking about. Now, before I go off track, because I've been going on and on about progress and my progress and stuff, I just kind of want to get to what I'm trying to say here. These past few months that I've been away from the podcast has been eye-opening, in a sense that it's not that everything that opened my eyes happened these past few months. It's exactly the kind of break that I took from podcasting and even from posting sometimes. I allowed myself time for myself to just kind of break down everything that I have been through in these past few years, I would say. And the revelation that I actually had about my journey it was scary at first. And I feel like a lot of you would relate to that because there are so many things that we try not to think about. So many things that we try to keep buried, right? Swept under the rug because we feel like we have no time to confront them because, well, time's ticking and we have all of these goals we need to progress towards. But we never really realize that even if we do meet the goals we have set for ourselves, because we have avoided such a crucial part of ourselves, we will never be able to feel the satisfaction of attaining such things. And this is why I wanted to talk about progress. Because you might see on social media there are so many people that are posting, progress, hashtag motivation goals, hashtag this, hashtag that. Yet 2 weeks later, they complain about something that they had just progressed towards. And for all you people who are not watching the video for this, yes, I did the air quotations because it's true. And I am actually reading myself. I am attacking myself right now because this pertains to me. I always claim that I'm going to set body goals. Okay, so we'll start with that. My progress with fitness. I have progressed 1 billion times towards my goal, only to revert back to how I was before that. And it's become a vicious cycle of me trying to get to how I want to look and then going back to how I used to look because I got comfortable with my body and I wanted to eat, I wanted to do this. And I'm not even able to enjoy the fruit of my labor when I get the body that I had worked towards because I get scared. Now fear had played a big part of when I regress. And I actually don't want to use that word, but for me, I use that word because I have to confront myself with it. And I don't want to be a hypocrite because it does feel like I regressed. Not because my body started losing the shape that I wanted it to have. It actually had nothing to do with that. But it has absolutely everything to do with the way I had thought about it. And this is why the way that we talk about progress is actually so dangerous. Because there are so many things that people are not being transparent about. And that could create a problem. One of the few things that really opened my eyes up to this whole fitness progress thing was, an actual bodybuilder friend of mine telling me, hey, you know what, Steven? Nobody, unless you have, 5% body fat and you're absolutely, eating like super fucking clean, nobody looks the way that they do on Instagram posts every single fucking day unless they're flexing. That was a big thing for me. And I realized I have been trying to get to this body goal that I had in mind, but the way that I was doing it was incorrect. Because up to that certain point, the way I was doing it, it wasn't as detrimental to me. It wasn't as painful. It wasn't as, I didn't really suffer. But I yielded results that made me happy momentarily. Because like what I said earlier, the fear started taking over again that, oh great, I look like this now. What if I have a cheat day and I eat my favorite things and I lose all of this? And I don't get to enjoy it anymore. It sounds so vain, because it is. But I wanted to start off this conversation with that example. Strictly because I wanted to kind of show the spectrum that we have in terms of progress, in terms of how we look at how we've progressed. That is so superficial. what I had just showed you guys or talked about. Because not once did I talk about I did that for my health, right? Not once did I talk about I did that because I wanted to live a healthier life. Because I wanted to, like now that I'm 33, I'm not always going to look like this. And instead of focusing on the important parts, I'm still stuck on the aesthetics. And it's okay, right? It's okay as long as you're honest with yourself about it. And that was one thing that I wasn't. And I'm going to wrap up this progress talk on fitness or my fitness journey by saying that the moment that I finally appreciated the way I've progressed, the many times I've progressed towards my goal, was the moment that I realized what good came out of me being a little bit superficial. I had ignored all of the things, all of the positive things that eating healthy, working out, and even not sleeping as late as I used to had brought to the table. I have never been as fit in my entire life, not just physically. I feel it in my body. I feel it inside. I was never one to run, yet here I am not being winded after running for a bus anymore. I was never one to... actually, let's do something that I used to do. I would buy groceries, which is a 15-minute walk away from my house, and I would walk home with it. And before, I would really struggle. Not just because it's heavy, just because I'm walking so much and I get so tired. And now it's like a breeze. It's these little things that, because we get so focused on what if I don't maintain this body I had just attained, that when we have moments in which we can instead appreciate the journey that we've gone through, the progress we've made, we are now disqualifying all of the positives that we had given to ourselves. And it wasn't until that moment that I realized that, wait, hold on, it's okay. Because look at everything that I had done for myself. And me and my aesthetics and my superficial goals actually yielded a very important result that I never thought I would ever have in my life, and that is discipline. My real progress towards this whole thing was me attaining the discipline that I now have, because now I can apply it to everything else in my life. And this is why I wanted to talk about this, right? Because everything is tied together. We may not see it until somebody paints a big picture for us, just like my friends have, right? But it's there. And now I want to kind of jump into a different topic, because this connects to my mental health journey. Discipline. My progress from working out into this, right? And I remember the last episode of my second season, one of my best friends, Erwin, talked about, his fitness motivation and how it helped his mental health immensely. It does come hand in hand. Now, I want to say something, and I hope this doesn't trigger anybody, because a lot of us are dealing with serious mental health issues right now, not just because of COVID. Well, actually, majority of it is because of COVID, but not because they got COVID, right? But because of the restrictions that were placed upon, because our lives were pretty much pulled from under us, right? It was like the rug being pulled from under, and we didn't know what the hell was going to go. Some of us may have had that magician effect in which, you pull a tablecloth off the table and everything stayed in place. There are lucky people that are like that. But unfortunately, for majority of us, we end up being toppled over. And even worse for some of us, we end up falling off the table and completely breaking. And I just kind of wanted to say this because I feel like it is important for everyone to hear this. But if we think about all of the negative things that had happened in the past few months, I hate to say this, but if you really look hard enough, you're actually going to see the kind of progress that you've made despite these dark times. And I'm not trying to glorify anything negative that had happened to anyone. It's not about that. It's more so the fact that a lot of us tend to dwell in the past, and rightly so because of how it's affected us. But not once do some of these people ever want to break out of it. And it's not their fault. Because for some of us, these really dark times, this is where they have hit rock bottom. And they feel like that's not it. They feel like anything bad that can happen will now happen. And this is why for some of you who are listening to this right now and can muster up the courage to actually say, wait a minute, I am in that position where everything wrong that could happen has happened. But I still understand what this man is saying. Because despite all of this, I am still here. Maybe not standing, maybe sitting down, maybe lying down, maybe battered and broken. One eye open. Oh my goodness, I can't speak today. When can I ever speak? Come on, you guys have been through this podcast a billion times. I try to say poignant things and I just mess it up. But my point was, you're still alive. And I'm happy that you are. And I'm sure everybody else in your life is too. And I know deep down inside you are too. But look at the progress that you have made. Because it's easy to say, is this progress? I am crippled now. Is this the kind of progress you're talking about, Steven? I have nothing left in my life. And I say, yes, that is progress. Because when you had everything before, you thought you were going to die when you lost it all. And you have lost it all and you are still alive. So you tell me, where did the progress go? It's in your mind. It's in your spirit. You may not be a very spiritual person, and that's fine. But I'm not talking about spirit like the Holy Ghost, right? I'm talking about that spirit in your body. I'm talking about your will to still keep on living. This, my friends, is the progress that we are talking about today. I wanted to bring this up because these past few months have been very challenging for me. Not because things, like what I said earlier, not because bad things have happened in the past few months. But it's because I have recalled every single moment of my entire life in these past few months to try and get to know who I really am. For those of you who are new to this podcast, and this is the first episode you're listening to, you know, I last year I was diagnosed with OCD. I didn't know I had it my entire life. And I wanted to see how my OCD actually shaped my life. And I decided to look back. I decided to dig. And sometimes, you know what? Looking into your past is actually very scary. Because you don't know the skeletons that you have buried in your closet that are just going to pop out. And I did just that. And every single decision that I made that ended up having negative repercussions was based on my cognitive distortion that my OCD had brought forward. Am I blaming my mental health for my decision making? Hell yes, I am. Oh, you bet I am. Am I trying to absolve myself from all of the mistakes that I had made because of my mental health? No. There is that difference. I'm holding myself accountable Because I should have, correct me, I'm sorry, correction, should never, should, how do I say this? One person, maybe a friend of yours, or maybe yourself, will always say the word should or shouldn't. But that term is actually not helpful at all in our lives. So we're going to try to take that away, okay? I could have taken time to get to know myself back in the day. Do we see how much that changed from should instead of I should have gotten to know myself? I could have gotten to know myself, but I didn't. And that's okay. Because now the blame is gone. Right? Now I'm getting to know myself. So guys, again, another lesson. Let's try to take away the word should from our vocabulary. Because it just sets expectations. And that's something that we don't really want to do. But anyways, before I got distracted, my point was, I could have cried these past 4 months. And I did. Some of it, yeah. After I realized everything that I had done because of my OCD. But this is where my progress was very apparent to me. Because instead of reverting back to how I used to be, in which I would start blaming the entire world for my mistakes, blaming the way I was brought up, blaming this, X, Y, Z, for all of the things that I didn't do, or for all the things that I had done. I said to myself, it's okay. Because I still have the rest of my life. I still have the rest of my motherfucking life to live. To be a better version of myself. And I hope this rings true for most of us, if not all of us. This is where progress is actually made. In a way, yes, we meet goals, okay? And after we meet our goals, we progress towards things, and some of us feel satisfied. But like what I said earlier, it's always a cycle of, well, once this is done, what am I going to do next? And then we just completely disregard our journey and our progress, right? It's important for us to take a step back and appreciate the nastiest, the grittiest, the dirtiest, the worst things that we had done or that has happened to us in our lives. Because the kind of progress that we have made from that moment is unmatched by any progress that we will try to make to attain such superficial things. It is the kind of progress that you can take with you till the very end, that you will always be proud of. And I am saying this because once you create that appreciation for that kind of progress that you have, every single thing that you do, the smallest things, the most superficial things, like the silliest things, the silliest goals that you try to make for yourself that you actually end up achieving, you will feel so elated, you will feel so great, that your next question won't be, okay, well, I've done that, alright, what am I gonna try to do now? Right? That's not it anymore. It's, this is great, I can't wait for the next journey. It's simple to hear, it's simple to kind of talk about, but it's very hard to understand and it's very hard to live, and I understand that and I get that. But nothing great ever comes easy, right? Of course, unless you are born rich and you have insanely rich parents that everything just comes easy for you. I mean, hey, great job. All I'll tell you guys is to please don't forget, you don't need money to be compassionate, and you don't necessarily need money to be good to other people and to yourself. Honestly, this is one of those topics that I was very scared to talk about because a lot of people see progress differently. And a lot of people might disagree or will disagree with the way I describe progress, right? And that's okay. And that's kind of the beauty. That is the amazing thing about the state of the world now. As fucked up as it is, it's about seeing things from a different perspective. The way I am offering my take on progress, you don't have to believe everything I say, because it might clash with your own belief, right? And if the way you believe or the way you understand progress is different and it's working for you, stick with it. But there are people with different opinions, with a different mind, and not everything works for everyone at the same time. Even with food, right? One can argue that, well, everybody needs food. Yes. But is everyone going to eat the same food? No. There will always be one thing that will have this nutrient and another person will be allergic to it. So guess what? They find an alternative. But they're getting the same nutrient, right? And this is what I mean when I talk about these things on my podcast. So before y'all get triggered because you happen to disagree with everything I just said, first of all, I want to say thank you for listening throughout this whole thing. And second, I'm here to say you're not wrong for feeling that way at all. It just might not be for you. And that's fine. And I would actually love to hear how you guys feel about progress and how you view it. Because the way I see the world is everyone's opinion matters. Because we may not agree 100% with somebody's way of thinking, but there's always little truth in what they say that we can all kind of take. Because there will always be one thing in the way that everyone thinks that will be universal. And I truly hope it's the fact that our goal is to just help everyone live a happy life. Which, I feel like it's silly of me to think that way, but hey, what can I say? This is why I'm not trying to make it into a goal, because I know I'm going to be setting expectations for myself, because it seems impossible. But hey, we got to start somewhere. And this is the kind of progress I am willing to work towards one day. But until then, here I am, giving unsolicited advice based on my experiences. But anyway, I just want to say thank you. It has been, it's funny, because when I'm with my guests, my podcast usually lasts a whole ass hour or 45 minutes, but I wanted to keep it sweet and short today. Oh my god, sweet and short and sweet. Oh my goodness, I have not done this in so long. I really hope that for those of you who have listened to the entire thing, that you were able to pick something up from this. If you are suffering right now, I am here to say that A, you're not alone. B, even if you choose to be alone, you can do it. If you're listening to this and you have suffered all this time, I just want you to remember that you're still here, and that's all that matters. You have progressed further than you ever thought you could have ever gone. And somebody out there, including myself, is proud of you. And I hope that one day you feel the same way about yourself. I'm Steve Diego. This is Breaking Down the Breakdown. It has been great being back. I love y'all. Remember, stay compassionate, stay amazing, and we'll be back for more. Thanks again. I'll see you guys.